Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo. Then we can be assured that other nations will not treat America with respect, the respect that we deserve.
What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back in with a new video, and today we're gonna settle once and for all who should be the Republican nominee in 2024. And I know, people are gonna say, well, if Trump wants it, he's getting the nomination. Absolutely. Again, even Richard Barris even talked to Ron DeSantis, again, the best pollster in the country, talked to DeSantis, and DeSantis flat out told everybody, if Trump wants to run again, he will not challenge him. So this is obviously just more so my opinion on who I personally believe is a better candidate for 2024. And the best way to really measure this is look at, I guess you could say, 5 policy issues and, 5, governmental issues. So, yeah, we have the issues of trade, education, immigration, economy, and the foreign affairs. We're going to determine who does best in those areas. We're also going to see who does best in fighting big tech, actually uses the power in office, handles Rhinos pretty good, who is better at getting turnout / winning off your elections, and who can best expand the base. So we're using tier lists for this. Again, we're going to decide which candidate is best for, each thing, and we're going to decide who is the better candidate based on this. And I know there's other things that go into it, but I think this is kind of a good way to really decipher who is the better candidate for 2024. Now, before I forget, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. And before I forget, of course, go follow that mysterious Twitter account in the description down below. Follow the Alt Tech, and remember, May, we got some big news coming up on the future of real American politics in a good way. So, yeah, let's get right into it. So, as you could tell, there's 10 policy issues, and I have 10 images of each president, or each, I guess you could say, potential candidate. And essentially, whoever is, in the most, squares, like i.e., DeSantis is better in, education, for example. I would put him in education, and he gets a point. Whoever has the most points at the end, in my opinion, is the winner. So let's get right into it. So let's start off with the issue of trade. Again, some of these issues are kind of personal to me. So again, I'm in the Rust Belt. We all know trade is a big issue up here. And I don't think this is quite, a debate. Trump is obviously one of the best presidents we've had on trade in years. I mean, Ross Perot, if he would have been president, would have been as good as Trump, but Trump overall has been the only president when it comes to trade to actually do something. I mean, he repealed NAFTA, which was I would say the second worst trade agreement the United States was ever involved in. The whole World Trade Organization, letting China in, that's probably number 1, but NAFTA, boy, they destroyed the Rust Belt. And DeSantis kind of has an iffy record. He's not like a free trade Lobert. He's more so okay, I believe we should just, increase economic product so much that we outcompete China, which is good, but I do think we need trade deals, we need tariffs, which is something DeSantis in the past has kind of voted against. So as of now, I think Trump is better on the issue of trade. Education, I'm not even... With what's been happening recently, I think DeSantis obviously has the stronger case. I mean, with Trump, that's one of his biggest weaknesses. I mean, for years, he kind of sat by and just let the education crisis happen. He really didn't do much with education. As for DeSantis, the whole, don't say LGBT bill, I'm not going to say the quote-unquote name of the bill, which, by the way, it doesn't even mention the word gay in the bill whatsoever. It's how can you call it that? It doesn't even mention it. It just banned, degeneracy in the classroom. That's all it did. And even so, it's not far enough in my opinion, but it's still a very good bill, and DeSantis passed it. As for Trump, I honestly cannot think of anything. Sure, he did a couple executive orders when it came to critical race theory, but that's about it, and they really didn't do much. So, my opinion, DeSantis is a better candidate. when it comes to the issue of education. Again, Trump just, I don't think, had a real chance to deal with it, but we just gotta see. Immigration, again, Trump is one of the better presidents we've had at immigration, both legal and illegal. He's talking about, reducing chain migration, passing the RAISE Act, which is a very good immigration bill. Not perfect, but it does a lot of good things. And I think Trump overall has a stronger record when it comes to immigration. I mean, DeSantis, his most famous thing when it comes to immigration, I like the guy, but it's seriously just busing illegal immigrants to DC. Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, but doing that once is fine. But when you do that multiple times, it's like, just deport them. If you're gonna just drive them all the way to DC, just drive them back to frickin' Mexico or wherever they came from. Lose the key in the Mexican desert. Sorry, can't come back in. If you're just gonna do that with DC. So yeah, DeSantis, when it comes to immigration, I would think he would be good. But compared to Trump, I think Trump would be significantly better when it came to the issue of immigration. The economy, look, I'm not even gonna, guys. DeSantis, I think, would be good on the economy, but Trump, in my opinion, was one of the best presidents we've had in the economy, possibly ever. Look, people are gonna say, but the federal debt went up. Yes, but that's not his fault. Trump wanted to reduce the deficit, but he really couldn't, because Paul Ryan's a complete schlep. So, yeah. His economic policies gave us some of the best prosperity we've had in decades. I mean, it's the best at least since the 50s for sure. I mean, people were getting jobs again. Not crappy, surface-based jobs. Real jobs. Manufacturing. We were making stuff again. And quite frankly, if COVID never hit, 2020 could have potentially been one of the best economic years ever. I mean, Trump just signed a trade deal with China. And it's one of those things, though. It's a big what if. Trump would have won a landslide in 2020. It's one of those things, though, just didn't happen because of a certain thing that happened in 2020. We never got to see what Trump's economy really fully was. We saw that a little bit in 2019, but 2020 really was the year. We could have saw it. But of course, a certain virus hit us. So the economy, I gotta give to Trump. Foreign affairs, again. Trump's the first president in decades never to start a war. DeSantis, his issue is his voting record in Congress was pretty iffy, to say the least. And that's really all I gotta say. I mean, we haven't seen enough of DeSantis on foreign affairs, but with Trump, he has a record of promoting peace, but kind of through strength, like, hey, we're not gonna get involved in this, but if you, cross this line, we're gonna bomb the shit out of you. So it's kind of, questionable policy by some people. I think it's okay. Again, I think we should not be involved whatsoever. But again, Trump did end several wars. He created peace in the Middle East, stability. It's just ruined by Joe Biden. So Trump, in my opinion, would do a better job at foreign affairs. So on pure policy issues, it appears Trump wins a landslide. I mean, 4 out of 5 issues, I can definitely see Trump winning. However, we get to some of his weakest points, kind of his governmental powers, which he, my opinion, look, he used it good enough in 2019, but Trump was not his full strength with using government power. I mean, there's some policies he should have done through executive orders. He should have done, but he just didn't. So fighting big tech / big corporation, DeSantis. Look, he's going after Disney right now. It's pretty funny seeing all these Democrat socialists, 5 years ago saying, we're against the top 1%. Then suddenly they are shilling for Disney. It's like, you guys are a clown show. And DeSantis also would use full power in office, compared to Trump at least. I mean, he would do a great job at actually fighting corporations, fighting big tech, actually using the powers that the founding fathers gave the president. I mean, sure, they wanted a limited government, but don't kid yourself when they said, we need no government. That's bullshit, all right? That's complete total bullshit pushed by, these lowberts that think, the founding fathers meant that not even Social Security can exist. It's like, no. They just wanted a limited government to prevent, tyranny. So, yeah, Ron DeSantis, in my opinion, would do a great job at both. He's already proven it. I mean, I think he's essentially used every single power play in his book in Florida. So I think he's been a great governor, especially with using power. And also this, handling rhinos. This is quite possibly Trump's biggest weakness. He is garbage when it comes to handling rhinos. I mean, Mitt Romney, you're endorsing that clown? It's like, why? I mean, some of the people that Trump endorsed, supported, and just suddenly, like, bent the knee to, a lot of these people hate him, and he keeps trying to, appease them. It won't work. I mean, there's so many people that could have been primaried out in 2020 and 2022 that Trump just dropped the ball on. Well, DeSantis in Florida, quite frankly, he's been doing a great job, in my opinion, of dealing with rhinos. Oh, you're not going to pass my congressional map? I'm not going to sign it then, lol. So, yeah, he's held rhinos accountable in Florida. I think he can do that at the national level as well, though it'll be a little bit more difficult since, it's senators and congressional people, rather than, like, some schleps in the state legislature. But again, I think this is his weakest point. He cannot handle rhinos good at all. He needs somebody that can slap these rhinos into their, actual place of, like, voting for policies that the president wants, not this crap of, I'm gonna appease the Democrats. It's like, you're full of it. So, yeah, this is obviously a Trump weakness. Now, the next two are gonna be controversial. Turnout / winning elections. What do I mean by this is simple. Who do I think would better handle a midterm year? Like, who do I think would have a better midterm year other than the other guy? For example, Trump had 2018. That was a blue puddle. That was not a blue wave. The only reason Democrats got the House was because Republican messaging was garbage. Absolutely useless. I mean, talking about tax cuts, it's like, nobody cared. Sure, people support the tax cuts, but it's like, nobody wanted that. As for the Senate candidates, the ones that Trump actively campaigned for, governors, i.e. Ron DeSantis, they all won. Well, a couple of them lost, like the one in West Virginia, but that was kind of a lost cause anyways. But even so, Trump in 2018 had actually a pretty good midterm. I mean, yeah, he lost a House, but he gained seats in the Senate, did okay in the governorships. At the state legislative level, he did okay enough. So it wasn't a bad wave year. It's more so like a blue puddle. It was really not a wave year at all for Democrats. It's just, they talked about tax cuts when they should have talked about health care. That's why Republicans lost the House. But even so, I think Trump would handle turnout and midterms way better. I mean, Trump basically won DeSantis that race in Florida. People don't want to talk about that, but if Trump did not do rallies for DeSantis, DeSantis would have lost to Gillum by like 2 points. And I know DeSantis had a decent campaign, but people forget it was not this perfect campaign. I mean, he almost blew that race, but Trump came in, campaigned for him, and that's why he won the race. In my opinion, the biggest reason was because Trump campaigned for him a lot. So, yeah. My opinion, Trump is better at getting turnout and winning elections and off years. Now we get another doozy. Expanding the base. This is a final one. If Trump gets this, he gets a majority. DeSantis gets it, it's kind of a tie. So, who would be a better president at expanding the base? What do I mean by this? Trump in 2016 won over white working class voters that have never voted Democrat. 2020, he won over Hispanics that never voted Republican. I should say Republican for white working class voters. They never voted Republican, but they finally did in 2016 and 2020. He is a monster at this. I mean, sure, he can lose suburbanites all he wants, but he's appealing to so many people, so many working people that have just been abandoned by the Democrats, even by Republicans. He's able to expand the base. I mean, Trump is the biggest reason Hispanics shifted in 2020. Not because, they're sick of socialism. No. Trump energized them. He showed them, hey, this is my version of republicanism, not, just corporate tax cuts, we have reduced immigration, have fair trade policies. That appeals to those voters. At the same time for DeSantis, I mean, sure, he'll do good with Hispanics. I don't think as good as Trump, though. Trump has a unique advantage with Hispanics. I mean, it all started with that Cinco de Mayo tweet, 6 years now ago, or ago already. It's something like that. 6 years ago, he had a Cinco de Mayo tweet, and quite frankly, that started the trend. But the point is this. I think DeSantis would do better at winning over old Republican voters. I don't think he would do a great job at actually expanding the base. I don't think he would do the best in Wisconsin, southwestern Wisconsin. I don't think, he would lose it. I just think he would underperform Trump vastly. And that's my opinion on it. And I personally believe with that in mind, I think Trump would do a better job at expanding the base. Look, he can win Hispanics. He can win white working class voters. His one issue is suburban voters. And again, people need to remember, demographic changes have played a lot in the shifts in Georgia, playing the shifts in Texas. So even DeSantis, I don't think would do that good of a job in the suburbs. Better than Trump, obviously, but not by much. So, yeah. With that in mind, it appears Trump overall is the better candidate. Now, when it comes to using power in office, DeSantis obviously is way better. He can fight corporations better, He can deal with rhinos better. But for Trump on policies, winning elections, I think Trump's a better candidate overall. He can expand the base, get voters out to vote, but also he is good on the issues compared to DeSantis. Again, DeSantis is good on the issues too, but compared to immigration, the economy, foreign affairs, Trump is probably better at it. And that's my opinion. Again, I am biased towards the orange man here, but I don't think you can really disagree with most of this. So as of now, I believe DeSantis is a good candidate for 2028, but Trump for now is the guy to go with in 2024. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the little bell, and yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Godspeed to all of you.